I spent over 200 hours with Once Human in the past weeks and gathered tips for beginners and pros alike. From increasing your damage to 50,000 DPS and above to your very own acid AFK oil farm. And we'll also talk about the seasonal reset, what all comes with you and how it exactly will work. And if you know all of these, I'll devour this head. Number 1, the biggest mistake in Once Human. Mimetic Cradle, then Mimetics and Specialization. If you choose something like a Disassembly bench upgrade, like Careful Disassembly that you're now getting 30% more material, you do actually have to destroy your old bench and then rebuild it. You'll see this respective upgraded arrow. And unless you actually rebuild your bench or whatever item you have, in my case, my power plants being better than ever before, I had to destroy all of them and rebuild them or the effect won't take place. Number 2, increasing your weapon damage with replaced calibration. This is the main thing you do to actually make your weapons go boom. It's this button, replace calibration attributes, and you can do it as often as you want. Obviously, after I replace my calibration, for example, from stability 40 to 25% more attack, but 30% less mag capacity, that one will be gone and applied, but I can still change to whatever I want. For example, for sniper rifles, there's one everyone needs, and it's called Rapid Shoot Style. It's bolt pulling speed up to 50%. You'll lose 10% attack damage, but your bolt pulls 50% faster. You go kaboom, 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 kaboom. It's almost like a rapid fire sniper. Now, a very important thing about these calibrations is that the stats are random. This is reload speed 150 and reload speed 150. The one has crit rate and crit rate. The other one has elemental damage and elemental damage. These stats can be random and they have a range. The 10 times upgraded crit rate is 7.9, but it could be 9.6. And this is also where normal weapon calibration comes in. By 10 out of 10 times upgrading your weapon, you essentially unlock these bonuses at 4, 7, and 10. This is what you do for the ultimate damage. How do you get these calibrations now? You would break down weapons. Weapons that have the green page next to them have a calibration that you can rip out. And these weapons you're getting simply by looting weapon crates in the open world. And for this, I can recommend an interactive map. Then you activate weapon crate and probably also storage and gear crate. And this is what you can all loot in a little run to pick yourself up more weapons. Alternative, you're going to go into the silos, for example, silo theta, and in pro mode right now, it drops up to 2 weapons per boss. That's really useful, and you can get around 300 Stardust per run. Now, the weapon crate run you want to do anyways, because weapon crates are going to drop you permits. These permits will allow you to do the wave-based events, like here in the Blackfell oil fields marked by this symbol that looks eerily like the silo symbol, and they'll be giving you barreled premium fuel. You'll get Stardust Source, you can get 2 deviations, and a lot of Eclipse Cortex. And the main reason to do these is actually for the tons of barreled premium fuel you're getting. Because with barreled premium fuel, you can make yourself biomass missiles or red plasma fusion missiles. These are costing steel, stardust, and barreled premium fuel, and they're needed to knock out the Prime Wars. And you want to do the Prime Wars because, well, there's 800 Star Chrome for every easy Prime War, 1,000 for the hard Prime Wars, and then even 1,200 for another 3 professional Prime Wars. If you and 2 friends each bring 10 missiles, you can take down any of the easy modes easy, and the hard bosses are not far after that. That brings me to a trivial thing talking about iron. You definitely want at least 3 Digby boys working for you. Why? I have not looted iron in a long while. I'm going to take this guy. He gives me another 400 iron. This guy gives me another 400 iron, 300. And then this one gives me another 420. That iron is now enough to craft myself tons of steel ingots that I can then use to actually make these missiles, or to use the steel ammo that I take in 90% of the cases, unless I'm hardcore boss pushing something. I always make steel ammunition. Now, your first Digby boy you actually get in Deathsville if you loot 1 tin ore just over the road. Simple as cake. And every consecutive silver node afterwards, these are iron, that's aluminium, but silver nodes will have a chance to get you more Digby boys. But the second one you can get easily from low in the beginning, and he'll give you a Digby boy quest that will take you to Throwwill, and there you can pick up Deviation Expert, your bonus Digby boy. That's exactly the quest. Now, very important, you do actually want to do quests. Now, I do know that sounds trivial, but quests, or tasks as we do call them, net you stellar planula. So if you have side quests that you can knock out while you're playing, you want to get as much stellar planula as you can, because there's this vendor called Severin, and he sells two important things to you. First, Starchrome crates. You can't see them, but they cost 100 stellar planula per, and they give you 500 Starchrome per crate, so another 4,000. And keep in mind, your Starchrome stays with you after the reset, and we'll talk about the reset at the end of the video. Now, a second thing he does sell is controllers, and they're a limited commodity. Controllers are needed to get the maximum loot from bosses, and that's why you want to have as many controllers as possible. At the end of the season, you kind of want to reach 0, because they're going to go away, and you want to be having the maximum loot, since every single mod that you looted will actually stay with you. Yeah, they're going with you into the next season. Crazy, right? Now, I mentioned mods, and mods are incredibly important to increase your damage, and not just because they give you certain effects. What we're actually looking for is the colors below the mod, because that is the rarity of the substats. The rarer the substat, the bigger the bonus, like weak spot damage, 7.2%, max HP 3.6, kind of useless. The important thing to understand is that damage against great ones is only damage against bosses, while damage against elite enemies is the bosses of silos. Yes, they're elite enemies. The great ones are actually the monolithic bosses in the monolith. Now, this bonus does not apply to anything else, but the damage to elites doesn't subsequently also apply to bosses. So great ones are not elites. Elites are elites, and normal enemies are normal enemies. It doesn't go upwards, doesn't go downwards. It's just one bonus for one thing. So getting a bonus like weak spot damage or weapon damage might actually be better, since it just gives you plain damage increase. And if you're right-clicking your mod, this one, for example, with crit damage plus 15%, you can actually enhance it, and it will randomly upgrade one of these stats. Let me just do this to show off. It's going to give you a warning. Boom. And that went from white to green. This is also why you want to do the pro mode in silos and monolithic bosses, because the normal mode gives you purple mods. The hard mode starts dropping legendary mods, and that's going to be 1 per opponent. And the promo gives you tons more mods per opponent, but not only that. What they actually do is they give you top mods, so super upgraded legendary mods. In hard mode, you might get something like this with a triple green stat. And in pro mode, you're going to get something with a definite purple upgraded stat, which can be insane from a build, getting just a simple up to 10% more weak spot damage. And this can easily just jump up to legendary. My best mod right now gives me weak spot damage, damage against great ones, max HP, and magazine capacity plus 10%. I have 2, no, actually 3 of these mods in total, increasing my total, giving me 30% more bullets just over the mods. And to emphasize again, all these mods are coming with you to the next season, so you can directly equip them and just use them as you go from level 1 on. Now, a highly coveted topic, upgrading your blueprints. And there's one important thing to learn, and that is on the right side here. Huntsman, Wanderer, Operator, Juggernaut, Beyonder, and Stranger. Let's look at my sniper rifle. My sniper rifle says Huntsman. You can read this exactly in the blueprint. So this is a Huntsman blueprint. That means every Huntsman blueprint part, every blueprint part from a can upgrade the experience of my blueprint. That recurve crossbow frag, tons of experience. The weapon additional to that, perfect. Getting the stupid northern pike, can select almost all of them to get it fully leveled up to another star. Why do you want a higher star? To increase the base damage. The current base damage is 1755 and upgraded is 1848. And that then gets calibrated another 10 times to multiply up even higher. You have to keep in mind, though, you're not meant to essentially upgrade your weapon this season. So we're going to have mostly our 1-star legendaries, and then next season you'll probably get more blueprints like the Operator one to upgrade it further, since the way you get blueprints is essentially from every single mystical crate on the map. There's no other way to farm it. Yes, you can spend your Starchrome in the wish machine, but the mystical crates want to be looted. No matter if it's a level 5 area, or you're going to have a level 15, 18, 25, or 30, you want to have all the blueprint fragments. Because if something is of the Beyonder family or the Wanderer family, it can upgrade it. And the same does go for armor. Wanderer, Beyonder, Operator. In this case, my MyFly goggles are Operator. The helmet from the blast suit is Operator. So I could use easily my blast suit parts to just simply upgrade my Mayfly goggles. Now, we did talk about the blueprints and the wish machine gambling. Let me iterate on this. If you're pressing G, you're in the blueprint store where you can buy yourself the weapon you want, which will cost you 8,000 star chrome. I just bought the MG4 Predator, and I also did buy myself a mask for another 8,000, which actually boosts the fast gunner perk tremendously. Now, you can also gamble, and if you're, for example, wanting to have the soccer, definitely gamble. Look at what this has to offer on the left side, because if I'm spending now 10,000 star chrome, I will 100% have the soccer, and I will also have soccer fragments, 2 of them, to actually upgrade the soccer further. But worst case scenario, I spend 10,000 for this with all these blueprints bonus. Best case scenario, I spend 1,000 or 2,000 and I already have the soccer instead of 8,000. Now, obviously, if there's not a single good reward for you to be had, I wouldn't gamble this away. And yes, that 5 out of 20 was a mistake because I got myself hot dog shorts. Instead, I truly recommend buying yourself at least 3 pieces of any set that you really want. In my case, I bought the Bastille set, and the reason is very simple, because the Bastille set gives you a 40% weapon damage bonus if I crouch, and that works on every single weapon. Sure, it makes me immobile in the moment where I shoot, but I crouch for 0.5 seconds, unload on the enemy, and then I keep moving on. For example, the Lone Wolf set that stacks crits kind of works on everything. But the Renegade set only works on weak spot damage, and you gotta hit the opponent to increase your weak spot damage. And if you're then not able to hit a weak spot, the whole bonus is kinda wasted. For most builds, I would go with Lone Wolf to get the crits up, or then for the Bastille to just straight up boost the weapon damage. Keep in mind that Bastille is useless though for status damage builds like Power Surge or Icy Vortex, because these actually do scale with status, frost damage, and status and shock element damage, not with a weapon damage. And if you want to know how to get into this keyword thingy, you just go over your weapon, hover over the term, and then X for all the keywords. It's very useful if you don't understand what something exactly does, because it's perfectly explained here. Now, a tip for base building, locations of your base, asset farm, and so on. This is my Tower of Ascension. We'll talk about it in a second. And yes, 2 tower platforms are actually broken because I didn't see the boss enough. But let's talk about our asset farm first. We're currently in a polluted area, and you can actually see this on your backpack. The tiny 7 on the backpack tells me I'm polluted. We're currently in the Blackfell oil fields next to Blackfell, close to the industry area. And those are the black spills for oil in the ground. But it's not only the black spills, it's also this slightly grayish area that spreads the oil furthermore. Like, my base is actually being touched by this gray sludge, and that means the groundwater in this area is polluted because pollution, and at the same time there's oil in it. Now, since you're standing in pollution, right? Again, I'm standing here in 15 pollution. All of these generators are working and currently producing 37 energy. If yours doesn't work, you gotta break it down and rebuild it. Now, these water pumps are also in the polluted area. That means they're pumping up crude oil and polluted water at the same time 50-50. And that polluted water that's then going into the osmosis water purifier is being turned into impure acids. You see, I have thousands of impure acid here right now in these purifiers. And then the impure acid, you just simply have to grab and spread into your brewing barrels. And they'll actually be producing acid for you while you sleep. If you're gone for 24 hours and you return, you'll just have tons of acid. Perfection. While the crude oil will be put into the refining facilities, and it's actually refining very slow. But I come back here in the morning, I get 100 fuel per refining facility, and then I'll jump from 4 refineries, all the fuel into my super refiner or another refinery to actually make barreled premium fuel, so I can make myself more missiles and do more prime wars for the Starcrom. The only problem we're having is missing dirty water. Now, if it every now and then rains in the area, you have water collectors that will actually get you dirty water. But these water collectors, they don't often work. So I simply just drive to the water close by, go AFK, pull out my phone, watching your mom give me life advice on TikTok, watching my time on video games, and then come back with 2,000, 3,000 dirty water, deposit it into the container, and I'm fine. Now, one thing I'll recommend you doing is putting all the water pumps and also all the purifiers and refineries into one switch. And that switchable pylon is being connected via cable to your deviation energy generators. This way you have clean cabling because everything is into the pylon. And then if you want to actually do your base defense, you're going to turn your whole production off. And you're going to do the same with the Tower of Ascension. You're going to put all these together in one switchable pylon, which is actually over here to activate and deactivate the energy of the towers. They're currently not powered, but they'll be powered if I go for the defense. And now the defense is actually very simple in this base, because what you're going to do is you're going to activate your Stardust Resonator and you're going to put in one single tier 1 Cortex. And if you put one single tier 1 Cortex in, you will actually get to know where the spawn points are in your base. My spawn points are there on this corner and over here. And on the right or left is where the elite always spawns. These are set spawn points. They'll never change. That means I put my tower here, close off my production with a wall, and my whole base is on the other side. My base never gets molested. My tower is the only thing being straight away attacked. And I can stand on top of the other tower to snipe everything. Hell, I could even move this to the left or just stand on the tippity-toppy here and shoot everything down. But with the Cortex trick, and if you actually don't pick up the rewards, it doesn't even count towards your weekly limit. You know exactly where your base has to be, where your tower has to be, and you're set for the rest of the season. Then you build yourself 1, 2, 3, 4 towers, and that is for flyers, this is for flyers, and that is for super flyers. Probably the third level is unnecessary, I just like to have it. These are gravitational pools that actually slow down your opponents. You could pull out the marble floor here by another 4 by 4 and actually put the pool further outwards, that essentially the minions are being slowed down for an even longer duration and don't get this close to your base. So we can just take that one and move it potentially here. And I do think you can actually put this on the ground as well. Yeah, you don't even have to pull out the marble foundation to slow things down even further. Now I mostly drive around the bike because the bike is actually nice. But you can also summon your car, and very important is if you walk to the trunk, you can access items and put something in the back of your car. This is incredibly good if you want to do a prime war and you have all your heavy explosives with you. Instead of carrying them and clogging up your weight or even your barrel premium fuel, you can just load this in like your biomass missiles and then drive with your car to the location where you would like to be. Quite convenient. Now, we did talk about the 50,000 DPS and increasing your damage tremendously. That is with steel bullets, that 50,000 plus DPS. But you can make your damage even higher. These are tungsten LMG ammo bullets, and if you craft them with gunpowder, they're only normal 15 and 15%. This is the ammunition number 3 in the mimetic cradle, so the actual best ammunition you can craft. And it's technically only the purple one. But what you can do is you can craft this with different materials. So this is with electronic parts right now, which boost Shrapnel and the Bullseye. But I can also craft them with platinum crystals, which boost Fast Gunner and Fortress Warfare by another 25%. Yes, if I start shooting these bullets here right now, I would get 40% more damage. I have 60,000 DPS, and I could get 40% more damage on top of that just by crafting better ammo. There's also something called Living Armor. Activates when HP drops below 20% and recovers 100 HP within 5 seconds before losing Chloro Armor. This one is mandatory when you're trying to kill any boss. And the best part is, all of you, every single one that was watching this video has the deviation already called the Harvest Seed. This one you're getting from killing the Gaia boss, and it gives you the material, 300 right now, for clearing the living armor. Make sure to actually loot the material of your special material deviants, because if you don't do that, they'll stop producing. Like my lightning in the bottle is at 88 out of 30, perfection. But yeah, you do want them to produce. And as we're talking about production, what do you want? Do you want skill rating or activity rating? Activity rating is very important because it recovers their power and mood faster, which makes them more active. In case of the electric eel, I'd rather have them more active than boosting the electricity further. Combat deviants, this is different. Because a combat deviant's attack power gets scaled by the skill rating. We have the Lone Wolf Whisper, and it gives me 27% weapon damage plus. The Lone Wolf Whisper skill rating 1 is only 21% weapon damage. That means the skill rating for Lone Wolf Whisper will be giving a 40 plus damage. So combat deviants, as high skill rating as possible, but territory deviants, the activity rating should be up there. Optimally, you get the highest of the highest on both, but that's what you need to look out for. Now, if you manage to exhaust every source of controllers, I mean, we're talking about you did your weekly commissions. Don't forget about your weekly commissions. They do give you controllers too quite a lot. And you also farmed Severin down. He doesn't have any single controller more for you. There's another source of controllers, actually 2 sources of controllers, and you really need them to actually get the maximum loot out of bosses. One is called Nisa, and the other one is public events. Nisa is generally insane. She also sells you 10,000 Stardust. I could buy 300 currently. She sells you those 20 controllers. I can buy 19. Barreled premium fuel, but she also does sell you mods. And these mods are actually incredible. For example, Thunderclap is a main mod for Power Surge builds. Yeah, you can just buy this here, one single one of them. The same as goes for Shattering Ice for the Prost build or Obliterate for the Shrapnel build. It's pretty plenty efficient to actually just get that from her. Now, in order to get the material, you have to do a public crisis event. For this, you open the map and you'll check if a public crisis cargo scramble is going on. And we can see there's no cargo scramble right now going on, and there's also no cargo scramble car driving around. But we do have a Manibus. And the Manibus, for example, is actually going to give me a controller. So I could teleport here right now and knock this out to straight away get a controller. Interestingly enough, I can press G on a teleporter, swap my worlds to number 1, and check, hey, do you have public events too? Oh, there's a Manibus here happening as well. So I can knock out the one Manibus and then teleport over here and do the next Manibus, and they'll give me Cortexes too, tier 3 Cortexes. Then I'll swap the world over to world 3. And what do we have on this case? Oh, we have another Manibus happening, and that is on a different timer. This is actually fantastic, right? This one is on a 8-minute timer. So we could just knock that one out. And then we could go to world number 9. And there's nothing happening here right now. But like this, you can also find multiple cargo scrambles. And they're an interesting PvP event. If enemies are there, you get to shoot them, put on the jellyfish head, get the sproutlets that you can then spend on Nisa. And if no one is there, you can just AFK farm this, and it'll also give you a bunch of acid. And again, since the season limit is 20 out of 20, you kind of want to max this out because that is the maximum gain you can get. Coming back to damage and higher DPS, there's one thing we haven't touched on, and that is your food buffs, which can be quite crazy. Stardust Ratatouille would make me move 20% faster and use less stamina, while the Bone Deviated Sausage would increase your damage against bosses by 15%. Or like canned meat would give me more shrapnel damage. Yes, there's quite some recipes that are insane. The problem is, this one would need me to have deviated mushrooms like crazy, plus any kind of meat. The good thing is, this deviated sausage can be completely automatized. You do have your growth bats up there, and the way they're going to be growing is from your friend here, the shroom. Yes, you can hand him any kind of seeds you want, blueberry, orange, hawthorn, or in this case, mushroom seeds, and he'll actually be planting and harvesting them. And in order to get them deviated as much as possible, you can grab yourself a Buzzy Bee, increases the mutation chance of planted crops. The higher the deviant energy level, the higher the mutation chance. Huh, that's intriguing. And these two can be picked up in the very beginning. This is Deathsville, Mayor's Market, and also Sunbury. You're going to teleport down to this teleportation tower next to Sunbury. And from here on out, you're just heading north into the cave that is right listed on the map. And you'll find tons of mushrooms in here. And as you're looting mushrooms, you can get yourself a Growshroom, and more than one. But not only can you get the Growshroom here, you're also going to get your first mushroom seeds. And with these mushroom seeds, your actual grocery room can just keep planting mushrooms. And then the mushrooms you loot in your base can actually give you mushrooms as well. It's actually kind of funny. And then the more mushrooms and grocery, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's my second grocery room. Fantastic. And the little bead you can pick up in Debtsville, next to it in the Citrus County. In this farm area, there's the big water tower. Next to the orange scarecrow, there could be flying the bee in the sky. That is exactly next to the marker here at this field. You get the two dudes, and your bee might just be waiting for you. And if she's not here, you go back to Debtsville, swap worlds, drive back, see if she's here again, and so on until you get her. And now the only thing that would be missing to make these products would be meat. But meat is so easy to get. We're going to be traveling to the Greywater Industrial Zone from the Greywater Camp, so the level 25 area. And in the island area above the Greywater Industrial Zone, you'll turn into a crazed bunny murderer. You can easily find them on the edges of the water. You kill them, and then you skin them. And they will give you a deviation called the Lethal Rabbit. This Lethal Rabbit keeps spawning and murdering animals in your territory. And I go to him every 2-3 days. That's the Lethal Rabbit. And he's flushed. That's 35 pork, but that's not everything he has. Let me loot it. 35 pork, 42 beast meat, rawhide 107, goat meat 32, deer meat 28. Yeah. So I could either make myself now 200 canned food, or I do have all the meat I already need for my deviated sausages. That's like, yeah, ta-da. Wow. Crazy, right? So you can also go for max HP and then plus damage, max stamina plus damage, restores HP slowly, and plus damage. Simple as cake. Now a final thing before we talk about end of season, and that is energy link. You want to have 400,000 because in week 6, in the seasonal store, you can buy yourself Starchrome crates, and you'll need 390,000 to buy all of them, and it's another 4,000 Starchrome. And now that brings me to the end of the season after 6 weeks. What is actually coming with you? And this is crazy. Your Starchrome, Chrysogen, Mitsuko Mark, Stellar Planula, and your Sproutlets. So all these materials that we needed to buy from Severin, Nisa, blueprints, all of this is coming with you. Then your gear blueprints. So your actual blueprints you unlocked, your legendaries, your upgrades. So this is a 2-star. It will stay 2-star. They're coming with you too, but also all the fragments. So I haven't unlocked the bow yet. I still keep the fragments. I haven't unlocked these weapons. I keep the fragments. But not only this, also your mods and their upgraded versions are coming with you as well. So if you found the perfect mods already, and if you spend all your materials upgrading them, perfect, they're coming with you. So just use all of this, like use your weapon mod parts and use your armor mod parts to actually upgrade the max. The same as furnitures, cosmetics, character customization, building blueprints. Yes, if you go on building, right-click house blueprint, and then you saved your whole area, or you just saved parts of an area. Like this module here, for example. They all come with you. Oh, and if you only want to change a part of your area, you just press right-click, add blueprint, then save a single building, left-click on it, F, and that would be now only this respective building that is actually being saved instead of going for the whole base. You know, it's only the building here. It's being saved easily with all the things inside instead of just going for the whole big base. That is all coming with you. And the only thing that's being reset is actually your level, energy links, map and settlement exploration progress, season progress. That's it. This is a soft reset. It's like a roguelike game. The following supplies will be moved to Eternal End Depot. At the beginning of the new season, players can choose some of their resources to bring with them in their new journey. Weapons, armors, and ordinary resources, materials, medicine, and ammunition. That means your deviants are over there. You can trade them for materials. And if you have a very cool weapon that you have 10 out of 10 upgraded, an armor and bestie set, there seems to be a way to already take these also with you then. That means a reset in this game isn't a reset that's kicking you completely in the nuts. It's more you're going back to base one, like you're now 5-year-olds again with the knowledge of your 30-plus-year-old self, gaming grandpa out there, hello. And you can dominate harder than ever and actually pick the right mimetic specializations like sulfur chemist or electrical expert, solar drill, precious metal refining, and don't screw up this time, sir or ma'am. Now, there's tons more tips out there, so please do share in the description below anything that you have that you would like the community to know. I think the video has gone long enough. If you're now looking for an absolute incredible sniper build or 3 free blueprint builds that you can find in the world, enjoy, ladies and gentlemen, and have a fantastic good day. Thanks for watching.